gets a bit boring reading this same book every single... good afternoon, everyone. I'm your host, Koisak, and welcome to Story Time. Today, we've got another fantastic story. And this story, it's called...
It was quoted from the book that they rushed in like water. The entire herd of strange reptiles invaded the village. People were being slaughtered mercilessly as the reptiles tried to replace all people. Fortunately, the invasion failed. The lizards were simply outsmarted by the humans, who fought heroically with the attacker's deadly enemy, cattle. It's rather strange, because you'd think that animals with cow horns on their hats would be aware of cattle, but no. They dropped like flies as the village bulls rammed into them in victory. The cattle triumphed in glory. The battle continued smoothly until there were only 2 Velociraptors left. They got away. I suddenly stopped reading. What was this book? Fiction or fact? It wasn't clear, since it was only a book that I'd discovered in an Anglo-Saxon village. While deep in thought, something caught my attention. Something white sticking out of the hole I had dug to find the book. It was a skeleton. A skeleton sector of nothing other than a Velociraptor. It was no coincidence. As unbelievable as it sounded, it turned out that this story probably had some elements of truth in it. But if it was true, then how? I decided to read on. That was it. No more information. Meanwhile, on the seas near the village, a small brown shape could only just be seen bobbing on the horizon. In fact, it was a ship on which the Viking Velociraptors sailed. How they survived so long, and how did they just happen to turn up as I discovered a book about them, I do not know. Soon enough, they arrived at the village that I was in. They didn't spot me inside the hole though, since the Viking Velociraptors walked straight past it. However, that didn't stop them from causing mass destruction. It was chaos. The village was being conquered again, but this time the invasion was starting to look successful. As I stared on in horror, I wondered why now, with more advanced technology and more educated people, we let ourselves get conquered by a bunch of dinosaurs, more easily than about 2,000 years ago. Then I got it. Cows. This village was no longer in possession of the Velociraptor's only weakness. That gave me an idea. I came back to the Velociraptor skeleton and took off its helmet. Then I grabbed my torch and shone it at the helmet, projecting a shadow onto the fence outside. As I made my ridiculous cow impressions, the 2 raptors stared in horror at the shadow. I'd saved the day. In no time they were back in their ships, sailing away into the horizon. Their ship sailed on until it finally reached their home, the place where they had survived for millions of years. The truth was, they survived that long because whenever they thought that they were in danger, they would freeze themselves in the icy mountain, and they'd simply wait until the ice melted to get going again. The thing was, they always froze themselves next to someone else without realizing, and that someone was Caveman Khan.
What a nice story! The moral of this story is, always make cow shadows. Thank you for joining me, everyone. See you next time on Story Time.